Good day, everyone. Welcome back to the Peacock Podcast, where I'm going to be talking about games I've been playing recently and what I think about them. I'm really excited to talk about a couple from this week. One of them sitting on my shelf for like 2 years. I finally got it to the table at game night. Well, let's continue the trend of these two-player dueling games that I've been introducing to my girlfriend. And this one is Star Wars Destiny. This one is fairly unique in how it plays. You've got your deck of cards that you build up with whatever you happen to own. And then you're going to pick your heroes, right? Based on a certain amount of points. Each hero would cost a certain amount of points depending on if you're going to have 1 dice for them or 2 dice. So there's lots of great deck building, and on your turn, you're going to do one of several actions. You're either going to activate your dice, which is roll all the ones of your character and what other items are attached to them that have dice. You're going to discard a card to re-roll dice. You're going to activate a dice power. You're going to play a card or activate some ability on something that's out in the field. This game I've got so much content for. In fact, the Legacy boosters were on sale for $30-something, down from $113 at Board Game Bliss. Now they've got a summer sale going on for $13 for a full pack of boosters. So that one's a little hard to pass up, but I mean, I've got so much content and I'm just not sure if this one is going to get the play that I would love to get out of it. As I mentioned on the last podcast, these types of games I just love. I could play these types of games all day long. My girlfriend's not a huge fan of Star Wars, but she did enjoy it and she would play again. But she didn't love it. It didn't jump out and get her frothing at the mouth to play. So Star Wars Destiny, it's a game I very much enjoy. I'm not sure what the future of this is. I don't know if it's still popular, still getting played a lot. I know there's another release coming out from Fantasy Flight. I'm curious to know if this game has any legs to keep going. It's almost like Dice Masters. And even though that game is still getting pumped out, when it first came out, I bought tons of Dice Master stuff. I played it a few times, and now I've got boxes of dice and cards. And that's kind of where Destiny is at. I did buy some binders where I wanted to organize everything to make building your decks easier, so I'm going to try and woo Candace again with this one. Maybe build a couple of different decks or let her try and get behind it, but right now Destiny's sitting at, it's not bad from my girlfriend's point of view, and she's probably the only person I'll be playing this with. There's my son, who's 10, who does like the game, and every time I tell him there's a new set coming out, he's like, you should get it. And then I'm like, well, we don't play it often enough. I don't know. I will play it. But anyways, with the, having to go ahead and build your deck beforehand, I think that really takes away from the accessibility of this game. So I like it a lot. It's a fantastic game. It's super fun. I've got tons of content to build 100 different decks, so hopefully I can get Candace a little bit more addicted to it, and it'll hit the table some more. But that's Destiny. Moving on to Batman Gotham City Chronicles. I just uploaded my review to Tom Vassell at the Dice Tower, and it's going to get posted sometimes after Dice Tower Con, so you can look for that there. But this was a game I backed on Kickstarter. I mentioned it a few podcasts ago, and I've had a chance to play it a bunch more. I've almost got the first scenario all painted up, which of course makes the game better. Conan is one of my favorite games. It might be number 2, it might be number 1, I don't know. It's in my top 5 for sure. And Batman is, it's a more evolved version. It's, you can see that the designers, everything they've learned from Conan, a refined version, although it's much more complex. The rulebook is terrible, which is, seems like standard for Monolith, but that aside, you get through the complexity and the rulebook, and it's an amazing game. I particularly like the versus mode, the Overlord versus Overlord. This turns the game from an adventure-style mode into a really tactical skirmish game, but you've also got objectives to accomplish in the meantime. So I'm not going to go over this too much because I want you to go check out that video when it's uploaded, and I did mention this a few podcasts ago. But Batman is continuing to hit the table. I've played the first scenario, I don't know, like 6 times now. So I'm really looking forward to getting into some of the other ones and see the variety. I mean, I have played a handful of different ones from the different expansions, but just a ton of content. And this is probably going to be one of those games that I just have set up. And after I play it a couple of times, I will set up a new scenario. And anytime it's time to do something, I'll be like, hey, I got a Batman game set up downstairs. We can go play that. Look for more as I continue diving into this game. Now I'm going to talk about a game that, as I mentioned, was sitting on my shelf forever. That's Fury of Dracula. This game always looked like a good time. I've had it set up. I've ran through a few turns. But at game night, where we had 4 of us, so I was Dracula, and then we had 3 players controlling the hunters. And the game ran about, 3-4 hours long, and I was victorious as Dracula. But this game was an amazing time. Everybody loved it. And the reason why it ran so long is because near the end of the game, the hunters would take like 20 minutes to half an hour and deliberate before they took their action. So I was sitting back going, listening to them plan about where they thought I was, where they were going to head me off. And then they'd take their turn, and then I'd be like, boom, I'd grab a card, put it face down to show I've moved there, and put an encounter on top. And then it would go back to them deliberating for 20 minutes or half an hour. But it's just really, really fun. And a huge part of the enjoyment was my opponents all getting so into this game. And even though it was taking 20 minutes for them to plan, it was a joy to listen to them talking to each other and making plans based on where I was. When they said exactly where they thought I was, just trying to keep a casual, straight face, was a lot of fun. And when you go out into the ocean, you're playing a face-down blue card, so the hunters know you're out there and like, okay, he's in the ocean. And you can't go back to a space you've already been as well, so they've got that info too. But as far as these hidden movement games go, like Spectre Ops, Fury of Dracula, and Narcos are the 3 that I've played. This one's my favorite, although the game length doesn't make it as accessible as a game like Spectre Ops, which is also awesome. And in fact, Narcos is a great game too. But it was awesome to get to the table. To give you a quick rundown on how it goes, Dracula's turn. He's off the map. He's got a little mini map of where he can go so that the players can't look at him looking at the actual game board. He goes through a deck of cards, 1 card for every location on the map, and he puts it face down, and then he puts an encounter on it. The main way Dracula wins is by putting these vampire encounters down, and once they slide off the end of the board, because every time you put a new one down, the whole path that you've been slides off, these things can mature and give you influence / victory points, right? If Dracula gets 13 influence before the hunters get him and kill him, he wins. The hunters have a day phase and a night phase. They can, if they're in a big city, they can grab an item and an event card, which, depending on if it's a Dracula back or a hero back, could help them. They can move 1 space, but they can't do this during the night phase. They can get train tickets, which lets them travel around Europe a little faster. They can search a location that has an encounter on it. So if I'm waiting for a vampire to slide off the board and mature, they can search that place. They don't know what the encounter is yet. And then when I flip it up, they've got to fight that vampire. But really, really fantastic game. It was a highlight. It was a gaming highlight for me playing this. That's how much I enjoyed it. I can't wait to play it again. I would happily be Dracula again, but being a hunter looks pretty fun too. So that's Fury of Dracula, 2 big thumbs up. And the final game I'm going to talk about now, this one is still set up. I'm in the middle of it. One of my all-time favorite games, and that's Mage Wars. They call it Mage Wars Arena now. I have the original Mage Wars. And I believe this game is done as far as, what's the company that does it? It'll come to me in a second. But they made Mage Wars Academy, which was a more streamlined version of it. And I think they ended up just killing Mage Wars Arena when they released that game. And I refuse to get that one just because I don't want to kill Mage Wars because I enjoy it so much. It's kind of epic. The game can go from 1 to 3 hours. But this game, when I first played it, I was like, this game kills Magic. This is everything Magic is, but it's rolled into a more, tactile experience because you're actually moving your mage around the board, you're summoning monsters, your monsters are actually attacking things tactically on the board. And we're in the middle of it. The fact that you have your entire deck in your binder, and every turn you can just cast whatever you want. You're not at the mercy of your deck. So this game's set up. I was talking to my girlfriend on the phone. No, actually, she came by to paint one of the rooms in the house. So she was here for a midweek visit. We usually spend all our weekends together. And I was like, hey, do you want to play a few turns of Mage Wars? She had to go. She had some errands to run. But she's like, I've been thinking about that game all week. So we're going to finish off our game this weekend. I'll tell you how it went. But highly, highly, highly recommend Mage Wars, especially if you're a fan of Magic the Gathering. And that wraps up this week's podcast. So thanks for listening. Leave your comments in the comment section down below. And give me a thumb up if you like what I'm doing. A little bit of encouragement never hurts. So I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.